think we've discouraged marriage, we've discouraged family, we've discouraged motherhood, and I partly blame feminism.
It's completely true, and I'll tell you that's exactly what I was doing. And I had that same exercise with a group of young girls who, when you ask them to raise their hand and say who wants marriage and kids, young 20-somethings, you would have thought I asked them who wants to commit a murder with me.
It's Channel Mom with Jenny Dean Schmidt. We're here for you.
Believed everything that the feminists told me, that I could have more than my mom had, right? I was the daughters of Betty Friedan, who wrote The Feminine Mystique. And really, doors just opened for my generation. I mean, we graduated college. We were told by Marie Claire and Cosmo that we could rule the world. We could do anything. But they told us a couple things that were wrong. One, that we didn't need a man, that we could do it all by ourselves, and that we should put off marriage and put off having kids in place of a career, which was a huge mistake. Two, they did it at the expense of men. So it was never being equal with men. It was about being better. It was that the oppressor, the man that had sort of oppressed women all these decades and centuries, had now become the oppressed. In a culture where dads are doofuses and idiots who don't know where they're going, and the women always have the answers, right?
Yeah.
They demean fathers, they demean motherhood, and women like Maureen Dowd of the New York Times ask, are men even necessary? And the third thing was not just this competitive adversarial tone with men that we don't have in our lives while we're taking advantage of all these opportunities, but we are told, even still to this day, to shirk our natural feminine wiring, wanting to have kids, wanting to be girly, wanting to be womanly, wanting to be nurturing to our families. We're told that in order to get that power, we have to go on a covetous quest for what the men had. So we have to work like them, we have to party like men, we have to bed hop like men, negotiate like men, emulate like men. The problem is we're not men. And so women are literally and figuratively tying themselves up in knots to try and maintain some kind of happiness that, if you look at study after study, just isn't there. Women just aren't happier than they were decades ago.
I think that women, because we've been, asked to do everything that men do, in addition to remaining in the home in some ways, being a wife and a mother and so on, that we now feel bad at everything because we're doing more. So now we don't feel like we're measuring up as moms. We don't feel like we're measuring up as wives. We don't feel like we're measuring up in the workplace. If we're stay-at-home moms, we feel like we should be at work. And if we're working moms, we feel like we should be at home. Kelly Ripa talked about that not too long ago, that she said when she's at work, she feels like she should be at home. And when she's at home, she feels like she should be at work. So there's this enormous, inadequacy that we feel.
But you said something interesting, and I was just having a discussion with a friend who's around my age. She said, isn't it funny? We spent our entire lives trying not to get pregnant. And she said, and now all we want to do is get pregnant, and we can't.
Yeah.
You talk to so many women that are freaking out, and I see them every day trying to freeze their eggs, wishing they would have froze their eggs, wishing they would have done all this stuff, wishing they wouldn't have pushed men off, wishing they wouldn't have pushed motherhood off, wanting and wishing that they could be a mom, wishing they could be a stay-at-home mom. I mean, it's just natural